I'm Leslie Thiede. I am the Program Support Specialist with Respite Care Association of Wisconsin. And this is Tyler Engel. Tyler, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Tyler Engel. I'm a project consultant with the Respite Care Association.
And today we're going to talk to you about how to be creative in finding a provider. Oh, there's our pictures. You don't need to see that, do you? All right. Today we're going to talk about tools and resources to help find your support team, tips on what words and phrases result in greater engagement, and kind of some warning signs on what doesn't, right? And then ideas on where to find your potential team members and setting clear expectations when you're hiring a new support team. I just want to mention before we get too deep in, I speak very quickly. So if anyone needs me to slow down, raise your hand. If anybody has questions, I prefer a more informal presentation. So please throw your hand up, ask the question, shout it out, whatever works, okay? Respite Care Association of Wisconsin, just so we have a little backstory, is a nonprofit state agency, and we help connect people with the resources. We don't provide any direct resource or any direct respite care ourselves, but we do help people find the human resource. We help people that are in need of funding. We help train respite providers. So we come at it from a couple different angles, but we don't provide any direct care. One of those things that we use is the Wisconsin Respite Care Registry. Okay, this registry that we have is everything that we do is free. So there's nothing that's associated with a cost or, you know, even like a hidden cost. There's none of that. A lot of people say, you know, is this too good to be true? But it really it is too good to be true for me, because this job is incredible. I get to help people all day long. But what the registry does is connects consumers with providers. In order to be listed on the registry, folks must take our free training course. It's a respite care provider training course. That course is 10 courses, and it's a base level. This is a consumer-based registry, meaning we don't do any background checks. We don't vet these people. It's consumer-based. We want to make sure that's very clear, that people are doing their due diligence on interviews and background checks and all that sort of stuff. However, it is a great place to start. It's a great resource. So this is kind of, this bottom half of the slide there kind of shows you what it looks like. So once you get there, you're going to select your county in which you live in, okay? The age of the care recipient, which goes child, adult, or older adult, and the type of respite. If you're looking for respite in your home, if you're looking for care outside of your home, then you would just select one of those. Some general questions. What is the registry? We kind of talked about that. It's a listing of people who provide care. And once you put in those three things we talked about, which was the county, the age, and the type, up are going to pop these blue bars, and those are people's profiles. You can click that to expand it, and that's kind of how that works. Who's listed? Only the people who want to be listed. So only the people who are still accepting clients, only the people who adhere to what we ask them to, which means that they respond to people within 48 hours. If they don't, we ask that you reach out to us so we know what's happening. They need to make sure that they're keeping everything up to date and active. So every 6 months, they get an email that says, hey, is your phone number, email, everything still active? If yes, then click here. They actually have to make an action. Otherwise, their profile falls off. So we try to make it so you're not calling all of these people and no one's responding to you. That we all know that is like the worst thing on the planet. So, so how do matches happen? You're going to want to, through the registry, you're going to pop it up, and I'm just going to pop into the next slide. Yep, here we go. This is what a profile looks like, okay? So you're going to want to go through each profile, and you're going to want to see what fits for you. If you see something in there that you're like, yeah, it doesn't sit well with me, or I would prefer someone who has more than a high school education or anything like that, then you just go to the next profile. Okay, so you don't, you know, this is just, these are for you to decide if this person is right to provide care or not. I'm going to just hop back real quick for a second. How do background checks happen? I just want to quick go over that once again, and that's a consumer based. So the person who is using the support is doing the background check. Who's the employer? We do not pay these people. They are paid through whatever source that their consumer has. So whether that's IRIS, whether that's CLTS on the child's side, that's how they're paid. We don't pay them. You can private pay them, but that is all discussed with that person that's listed. We did that. Who pays them? You pay them. Sorry. Sample provider. Okay. All right. The other thing we have, does anyone have questions on the registry? No? Okay. Then we're going to go along to the respite connections. That is basically the mirror image of the registry. So this is if I'm caring for my spouse, I might go on to the respite connections and create a page or a post. Okay. And I'm going to say, this is the name, this is the area in which we live. We're not going to say specifics. We don't want to get into any sort of specific healthcare information or any address or anything like that. So it's going to be a general, I'm from the Sheboygan County area, and I'm looking for someone to come in on Monday and Wednesday nights from 6 to 8. And then you can put all, things that you're requiring of these people. I need someone who is very patient. I need someone who can take my loved one out into the community, that sort of thing. Or I need someone who can take me out into the community. I need someone who's interested in movies, right? So this is all, how you make this is all up to you. So this is kind of a visual, if you will, on how Respite Connections works. So first, the family caregiver makes the post. All right. And next, it comes to us. This is kind of to avoid any sort of like spam or things that are not appropriate. We want to make sure that, if someone puts on there too much information that could give away who they are, things like that, we would just, send a message back and just ask that they revise it or something like that. So it comes to us first, just to make sure that it looks good. 2 to 3 business days, we'll get back to you and just let you know that it's been posted, or if it hasn't and why it hasn't. Next, the providers search that page. So our registry providers are well aware of this place called Respite Connections, where they can go to look for places of employment. Okay, so they can go on there and they can look through their county and they can see who is looking for care, what sort of care are they looking for, and can I help them? Then they make the connection. So the respite providers can search on the connections, and they can reach out to families directly. So I don't ever promise people rainbows and unicorns. We don't have the human resource we need. However, wouldn't it be a beautiful world if someone called you and said, hey, I want to care for you, or hey, I want to take you out and go to a movie. I think that's the world I strive to live in. Okay, so we're trying really hard to build this up and to build up our registry to make sure we have the people to provide the source. This is kind of the general page of what it looks like when you pop on. So if you're going to go on Respite Connections, you can create a post or you can search the jobs. So that's where our if you're a provider, you're going to go to the button on the right. If you are looking for somebody to care for you or a loved one, you're going to click on the button on the left. Okay. And it is required to have a login. This is another safety feature just to make sure we're not getting bots or any sort of thing like that. So you have to create an email and a login that's going to send you an email and say, hey, make sure that this is the right person, verify this is your email in order to search the jobs or to create a post. So what you're going to do with Connections is you're going to hop on there and say, I'm looking, I am an adult, I am looking for someone for my child. And you can specify gender, you can specify description of your care needs. There's all sorts of different things that you can list here. What's important to me, I think, and what's, the biggest issue here is scheduling description. Okay, so what do I need? What times? Providers are really going to want to know that information, right? When do you need help? If you're flexible, fantastic. Then you just put that in there. It doesn't matter when you provide me help. I just need the help. Okay. The other thing that's important is this optional thing down here. This is where you can add in kind of your specific feelings, right? So if you really need someone that is outgoing because you're not, Or if you need someone that's more quiet because a lot of talking gives you anxiety, that's where you can put those things in there. Any questions? Any thoughts? Okay. Here is an example of what the job post would look like. So it's kind of the exact same thing as what the respite registry looks like. The connections looks very similar, okay? So it's going to pop up with these blue bars where it says Sandra there at the top. That's where it's going to, all these bars are going to say Sandra, Leslie, Tyler, they're all going to list. And then you're going to click on one to expand it. When you expand it, this is what you'll see. Their contact information, the description of their care needs, the schedule they're looking for, the city location, the county, and what their payment source is. Or your payment source, I'm sorry. I'm going to hand it over to Tyler for a moment.
All right. So as I've used most of these resources, and it's so valuable to have people out there that know, at least in some detail, what the job entails. But so yeah, what I do for building my team is they need to know when they need to work. So you need to figure out what you need, when, for how long, where is probably one of the most important, because you can't hire someone if you don't have the right schedule, if they don't match out. And you need to figure out how many people you need to do this job. So is it one because you only need a little bit of help, or you need to find 24/7 people that cover yourself for 24/7? These are the main things. And then the next step is searching for members of your entire team. And the biggest advice I have is cast a wide net. Put your ad or posting on Respite Connections, on Facebook, neighborhood groups, student groups, job boards, whatever you can to find people. And then I've also found that, you need to be clear and concise with your requirements on your posts. So you don't want to overshare. You don't want to mislead people on what they need to do either. So having a very clear description of your job is very important. And then set up interviews with anyone you can, anyone that reaches out, because that's honestly the best way to give them a little bit more information, see how well you get along, and if it will be a good match. And then always be recruiting. Like, I've been out to restaurants, I've had friends out at restaurants where the wait staff is, you notice they're exceptionally clear, they're extra attentive to details. Ask them, because it's a nice side job, a little bit better money than waiting sometimes, and more consistent. That side. And then with the people you meet, you want to make sure you have the right match. It's hard because sometimes you just need people, but it's not going to work out well if you don't get along and don't like each other, just like any job. And then making sure you want to do the right activities together. If you have complete opposite interests and want someone to go out to the movies and they hate movies, or go into nature and they're afraid of bugs, it's not going to work out, and the person isn't going to stay long, which consistency I've found is the most important part, having that consistency is. And then you want to make sure that what their availability is, like if they're available to be flexible and fill in if you need it, and how many hours they want to work is another good question to ask, just because you don't want to underwork them. And then you also need a backup plan, because life happens. Emergencies, illness, weather, whatever, someone stubbed their toe and they decide they don't want to come in. So having a backup plan is always important. So having that flexibility and dedicated staff is invaluable. Next slide. And then making sure for vacations and things like that, scheduling in advance as far as possible has been very helpful. Knowing when I'm on, when my caregivers are on, has been super helpful in making sure that I'm not scrambling at the last minute to find someone to help me out. Okay. You want to do this? Yeah.
Okay. So how are we currently finding people? Can anyone give me what they're doing right now? How are you finding providers? Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. So we've got Facebook. Wonderful. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Okay, so the key to that answer is what? Cast a wide net.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. You got to be looking everywhere. Anybody else that has something else that they do to find providers? I think you kind of covered it. I guess we're going to go through in the next couple of slides here about what's important in finding a provider, but I think it's really important to talk about where to find them. If you are, like Tyler said, out at a restaurant, or if you are going for a walk, it's really important not to be bashful about it. You can just, most people take it as a compliment, and those are the people that you want. So if you see someone out at the nature preserve and you say, you see them taking care of their children, or you see them giving a presentation, use anything, and they look like someone who is kind-hearted or someone who might fit the bill, it doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt to put it out there. It's hard to find people, as we all know. It's really hard. So don't let fear or anything like that get in the way of approaching people, because a lot of people don't know this job exists. A lot of people don't know that they can do this for a living, that they can care for someone and have a meaningful life and give meaning back. That's a really important thing. We talk a lot about how providers have this option of caring for someone or working at McDonald's. However, that's not the truth, right? The people that are saying, well, I'd rather work at McDonald's, we don't want them. We don't want them. We want the people that say, that's not even an option for me. It doesn't matter if I'm making the same amount of money. My heart is not there. I am not being fulfilled. Those are the people we want to find. So here is a sample. You want to be very creative in how you're making your post, or when you're on Facebook. If you make flyers that you put at the library, you want to make sure you're doing something eye-popping, eye-catching. You want to make sure you're using color, something that represents you as well. So if I absolutely hate the color red, I'm not going to use the color red because somebody else who hates the color red is going to not look at that poster for a second. So we want to make sure it speaks to us and that it also is eye-catching. So you're going to create a job description that describes your needs and expectations, so you and your potential team member can be on the same page. Write down a few words that best describe you. Then use them in your job post or your job description. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with Canva. Canva is a fantastic place. If you're not super artsy, which like myself, I'm not, it's a free website. You can pop on there and use their free templates, and you just, erase what they have written and you put your information in. It's super easy to use. Sarah, you've used it? No? Okay, good. I was hoping that maybe someone had and they could give me a testimony, but
that's what I do for mine.
That's what beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really easy to use. It's not like you have to start from scratch on a blank Word document that way.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I just learned something new today. I'm a mom. I have a daughter who's 33 who respite care is very near and dear to my heart. But I met Jacqueline today. She's still here, Jacqueline. Oh, she stepped out. She had an app on her phone that was a QR code. And so it had all kinds of opportunities to list various information. So instead of having to carry around a job description or your contact information, we're going to look further into this and try to adapt it into possibly creating a profile of you, so that if you do find somebody, all they have to do is scan your QR code and they have all of your information, your job description, your job expectations, who you are. And it could be a very user-friendly new tool to use. So stay tuned for that.
That's brilliant.
It really is. And I think, like we discussed with that, if you have this little thing in your pocket that you can say, hey, this is me, you can attach it to your social media. You can attach it to a YouTube video, whatever you want. Then somebody can just pop it on. I think sometimes we give away business cards or flyers and they just end up in the gutter and the garbage. How do I figure out what is important to me what is important to you in a worker? Okay, so this is the second most important thing. The first most important thing is safety, right? We want to make sure that this person is safe to be around, make sure that they're reliable and they can they can do the job. They can take care of you the way they need to take care of you. The second thing is what I like to call vibes, right? Is this comfortable? Are we okay near each other? Does it feel off, right? Just that inner gut feeling, I think, is number two, making sure we're okay. Just there's no instinct that says I'm really uncomfortable, I don't like it, right? Because that doesn't typically go away. What else is important is what do you like about them? What do you not like about them? What do you prefer in your workers? Do you prefer they speak quietly? Because then you don't want me. I speak very loud, then it's going to drive you insane, right? So what's important? Do you like people who are outgoing or funny, or does it drive you nuts when people continue to talk? Are you someone who likes a quieter environment? What is important? Is it very important that, like, do you like to listen to music? Okay, and some people in this room have a very hate for country music, okay? And if someone absolutely hates country music and you love country music and you like to listen to music, it's not going to work out. It's going to drive you nuts. You're going to hate every second of it. Okay. So you want to find that right person. Do you want a worker who likes the same TV shows? That's going to be another thing that's comfortable, right? It's going to make things way more impactful if you like the same things, if you enjoy doing the same things. Do you want someone who's available for a long time? Are you looking long-term, or are you looking to kind of just fit the bill? There are, students, right, that oftentimes can provide the work. There are, you can go all different places, but what is important to you is very important as far as where you go to look for a person. Okay. So determining all these things. Anyone have a thought on what is like the most important thing to them in finding a support team member? What is like a yes or a no? Like if you have someone and you're like, yes, this person reads Shakespeare, you're in. Or like a no, this person, Tyler, listens to country music, right? What's important to you? Skill? Okay. So I like skill. Skill kind of for me goes with safety. Are you capable of the job? Is there anything other than the ability to care that's very important to you? Sometimes religion comes up here. Sometimes if there is someone who's very religious, someone who's not religious or of a different religion, that might not work well together. Is there anything that pops in your head right away that is kind of similar to that, where you're like a yes or a definite no? I see somebody shaking their head. Can you give me a little answer? Right. Yep. Yeah, I think that's a huge one for people, right? That's a very important thing if they don't align or if they're on opposite ends of the spectrum. Okay. Smoking, very good. Smoking is a big one. Yes, go ahead. Sleep schedule, yes. How do we feel about people on their phones? Are you someone who's comfortable with someone who scrolls Facebook all day, or would you prefer someone who's more interactive? All right, so those are just a couple of things to make sure we're watching out for and we're thinking about while we're finding a support staff. The qualities that you're looking for may vary depending on what you're looking for your worker to do, right? If you're looking for your worker to take you out in the community and you live in a rural community, you need your worker to have a clean driving record. You need that person to be able to drive you around. If you are in the city and you want to, just hang out at home most of the time, their driving record probably isn't that important. So it's determining what those things are and where that boundary lies, right? Let's see. But that kind of goes back to what you like too. If you have someone that despises going to conferences and you want to go to a conference, that's not a good match. We don't want to just grab at straws. Just because there's not that many people available, grabbing at the first one also is not a great idea. Did you want to say something?
So this is my daughter up there with her respite care provider. And so that's Anna and Kelsey. And what's been really great about this relationship is Anna worked for an adult day center, and she reached out to me and said, hey, I want to hang with Kelsey outside of work. Is that possible? Well, my jaw hit the floor, and I'm like, nobody's ever asked to hang around my kid. And Anna did. Anna had 4 other children. So Kelsey became part of their family. They went to Hodags, butterfly gardens, to all different. She's given Kelsey such greater exposure than I ever do, that it just makes her world wonderful. But what is so nice is Anna's been with us for almost 12 years now. And her oldest daughter, who was 10 at the time, is now 22. And she is now becoming a respite care worker for my daughter, because she's been almost like family to Kelsey for all this time. So we do a lot with Anna in regards to giving like little perks in regards to birthday presents, Christmas presents. We're always, buying dinner, just little perky things that just kind of help indicate how much we value her. So a little goes a long way when it comes to appreciation.
Go ahead.
About that. So when I've done care providing, or I've been training before, they often talk about like, if someone offers you a present, don't take it, or you can't offer this person a present, that hopefully complicates things. But it sounds like in this situation, people are more comfortable with that, or
it depends on the organization, and many care agencies that provide motors are much stricter than like Iris or self-direction.
Right. Kelsey is the employer of Anna, so
it's
a direct hire. So there's no agency involved. So so that is a big difference.
Yeah. Agencies are much stricter. And they also do the find a one body technique. Yeah.
And I think that's a very important point though, Sarah, is that is that what you're looking for? Are you looking for someone to provide the care? Agency might be the way to go if you're looking for something that's meaningful and things like that. Whereas like Tyler said, okay, so sometimes things happen. Agency, the perk to that is that's their responsibility to find somebody else to come in, right? You can still go to work in the morning or do what you need to do, or you have someone there to make sure that you're getting up and getting fed, that kind of thing. But if you're, in long term, is that the answer for you? That's something you need to determine. That's something that needs to be, a decision that you reflect on. In your packet, you've got some sample interview questions. Sometimes it's hard to come up with things on the spot. I am a planner, so I would prefer, if I'm going to have an interview, to have something ready to go. That other packet that you have, hiring a direct support care provider. This is a great thing to grab. So if you're going to interview somebody, you can grab this little packet here, and you can just go through each and every step. And it's going to be broken down simpler into, rather than if you go in and you decide, okay, can you use this? And it's more than that. And I think that's what we're trying to get across today is it's more than just making sure someone can do the job. It's making sure someone can do the job well and comfortably. So this packet right here is for you to take home. It also, if you need resources like this, we have a lot more on our website. We have a course, how to train, retain, respite care workers. So it's very, very helpful in finding someone and making sure that it's the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Why are you interested in working for me? That is probably the most important question, right? What brought you here? Are you here because you need a job? Are you here because it's important to you? Why are you here? That's a great thing to ask people. Can you drive? Like we talked about before, is that an important thing? It's getting to be more common now that people don't drive. So, is it important for you to get around in the community? Are there any problems with days or hours that you need to work? So if someone also has a family, if someone has another job, it's important to know kind of the scheduling of things, how it's going to fit, if it's going to fit. And then you can kind of go through, can you work on the weekends or the holidays? Tell me about yourself. Do you have experience doing any of these tasks? This is one I think people get hung up on a lot as far as experience. I don't think it's as important to have background experience as it is to find the right trainable individual.
Yeah.
Someone who has worked in a facility for a long time, they might know how to do the tasks, but I think someone that can be trained to do the tasks is a lot, oftentimes a lot better long term.
They're stuck in the way, and if you train them, if you find someone who's willing to be trained, they'll do it the way that works best for you and them, not the way that they were taught to do it.
It's also important for you to, I have a daughter who behaviors can rise very quickly. And so I need somebody that's going to be able to speak in a high-pitched, happy tone, especially when she's not wanting to leave the mall, or when she doesn't want to leave the park, or when she doesn't want to leave a restaurant table. And so you can't just say, come on, Kelsey, let's go. You have to be, come on, Kelsey, let's go. Let's go have fun. Let's go. Come on, join the train. And, you just need somebody that's going to speak to her in her way to mitigate behaviors before they even begin. If I had somebody that was just loud and crass, but knew their tasks really well, would not be a good fit for my daughter.
The other thing that's important is practice. If you haven't done it before, it's important to sit down and say the words even in front of a mirror. It's important to be confident. It's important to trust yourself. All of these things while you're interviewing people and making sure that it's the right fit. You really have to know what you're doing. So sit in front of the mirror or grab a friend, go through this process a couple of times, ask the questions out loud, see what kind of answers that even random people give back to you. Ask these questions in public. And it's just important to have repetition, important to know, what sorts of things are you looking for? If I ask you the question, let's grab one. Are you working now? Where are you working and how long have you worked there? What's important to me about that question? Is it important that you have a job currently? Is it important to me that you've been there for 5 years? Is it important? Like, do these things matter to you? What outcome are you looking for? So the question that you ask must have a purpose. You want to make sure you're not just asking the question to ask the question. You want to make sure you're asking the question to get to know the person, to understand the response. Tyler, you good? Anything?
No.
Okay. So along with our resources at RCAW, we have training courses, we have kits for providers, we have kits for caregivers. The kits for caregivers is where you can find how to hire, train, and retain providers, meaningful activities, and that sort of thing. But another great resource, you can use this QR code here. Michigan has a manual called Hiring and Managing Direct Care Workers. It includes identifying who can help, finding workers, interviewing applicants, hiring workers, managing workers, and more. So if this is something that's important to you, you can leave me your email and I can send you the link to this if the QR is not something that is comfortable for you. But that is where we're at, and I appreciate Lisa. Yeah. No. It would be the same. Yep. This is just kind of a guide as far as what to do and how to do it. It's a great in-depth resource.
Any program, it's just specifically about it's through the ARC Michigan, so it's an ARC related project, but it's very neutral in regards to tools and worksheets to use. I found it very helpful.
Any other questions? Comments? Concerns? I love it. Thank you.
Sorry, I mean,
No, I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, I think something you can ask yourself when you're looking for people to be on your team is ask how tough you are as an interviewer, because I'm pretty gentle and I'll just say, yeah, let's go along with the flow. Maybe, check with one of your friends or some other people that know about RESPA or something like that, people with experience, to say, okay, does this person seem cool, or maybe they're a little sketchy? So don't just trust your own. That sounds bad, but ask around. Make sure you're getting the right person, because it's really easy to take in to say that's good enough and end up in a bad place.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if you are someone who would like to have someone else there to help you interview, do it, because they will understand that this is part of the team. We kind of all look out for each other and will help support, even if it's a family that you've had for a few years that you really like. Having that outside input is very helpful.
And be clear, Sarah is here helping Tyler. So
Yeah.
if it weren't for her, Tyler wouldn't even be able to be here today. So, so there's some walking the talk there.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate your time and your energy. And if you have any questions, or if you want to use our resources and you have any, anything at all that comes up, feel free to send us an email, to reach out at any time. We are more than happy to help. If you have other things that you're like, hey, it would be helpful, a document that has where to post things or how to reach out. Just let us know. Let us know what you need, because we can adapt to that. Yeah, go ahead.
I've been trying to find, no, I just was introduced to it today. So, and she used it to become just a contact of mine. So I'm going to do some research on it and make it available. We'll probably promote it on our website. So keep checking our website, probably the news side of it, and we'll be promoting that. And maybe even during one of our webinar Wednesdays, we hold a webinar Wednesday every month and talk about it, because I think it's going to be what I have in my head. I want to know if I can carry it out in real life, because I think it'll be very user friendly. So, Respite Care Association. So it's respitecarewi.org. It should be.
Yeah.
It's at the bottom of this one, otherwise.
Yeah.
Respitecarewi.org.
And then the QR codes when they do to the website.
Yeah. Or else you can just Google Respite Care Association of Wisconsin. And then just to throw out there in regards to the background checks, the state of Wisconsin asked us to not do the background checks because most people, I say most, are connected with CLTS, Managed Care Organization, or an IRIS program, where they would already do the background check. And so if we had one that was 6 months old, and then a lot can happen in 6 months. And so they want it to be that the program is doing it. If you are not connected to a program and you want a background check, and you find somebody from our website on our registry, we will pay for that. So that does not have to be a cost for you. And we're also exploring for people on our registry, even though they identify as serving particular counties, we're looking at offering mileage reimbursement. So maybe they will go a little bit further based on the location, so that we can, maybe they can serve a wider area based on the mileage reimbursement. So if ever you have any questions along that way to make things better or more user-friendly, let us know. Hi.
Talked about if a person isn't connected or anything about you guys paying for a background check. Don't people able to have background checks free now because there's CPAT, or is there certain things that is a non-CPAT that they might be a charge for background check, like if a person had something in municipal court or out of state or something like that?
A lot of background checks do both the circuit court, and then there's a federal background check. And it's usually the federal part that does more of a deep dive in that you end up having to pay for. So, yeah.
But doesn't that come if your IRS doesn't it come out of the program funds?
Yeah, we would pay for if somebody was not connected to the long-term care.
Okay.
We have many husbands and wives that apply to us where they're caring for a spouse with Alzheimer's or dementia, but they don't qualify for long-term care programming because they have financial limits and don't meet the threshold in order to qualify for programs. So we help a lot of family situations like that. So they can find a worker, and then we use our grant programs to pay that worker. But we can also help get that worker a background check, and we'll pay for that. Anything else? No, I appreciate it. Yeah, go ahead.
How would you know if they had a background check? So if you're working with a managed care organization, they're going to run one. So they're going to take care of that part of it. If you're not, you are going to want to run it. So if you don't have someone that's running the background check for you, you're going to want to run it. They can provide you with one. However, like Lisa said, 6 months, a lot can happen in 6 months. A lot can happen in 6 weeks and even in 6 days. So things change quickly. And you want to make sure that you have something that's up to date. Does that make sense? No, that looks like a no. You said yes, but your face said no. Mm-hmm.
They do it.
Go ahead, Taylor.
They do the background check after the paperwork is submitted. So it's at that moment.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They still, yeah.
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 Yep.
I'll get a notification that my daughter's workers need to have that. So working with a long-term care waiver type program, they will always be making sure that you have current background checks. If you're hiring somebody privately, they're not coming from an agency, and you're not paying them with long-term care waiver programs like IRS or family care. You're going to want to do background check, and you might want to do it every 2 years on that person. So they might give you something that shows that, yes, I had a background check done 2 years ago.
We do one on Wisconsin Survey Program.
Oh.
Yes, and I think that was a good point that was mentioned over here was that CCAP, and that's what that is, Wisconsin Circuit Courts. Before you even bring them in, it's a great idea to just pop their information in there and see what comes up. It's just a good way to kind of weed out that, this is definitely not going to work, or, whether it's a possibility or not. I think that's a great point. Yeah, go ahead.
Not aware of any who their workers.
Mm-mm.
I had one.
Oh, yeah. They do. Yeah.
Support clients and to carve that information carefully. There's a lot of pocketed collected information
CLTS counties will do that, you'll have ADRCs do that, just because workers are so coveted that they hold it so close. So it's tough to find these tools unless you're connected. I'm with TNG, I like, so they have something to present to me. Yeah, I'd be open to it. Close, guarded secret.
Yes.
Good questions. Anything else? Other thoughts? Any last parting words? Well, thank you very much for your time. And if you have anything specific, feel free to pop up.
Yeah. Thank you.